Another Tuesday, another election, but not just any election. This is a big one. The venue tonight, Virginia, at issue. Will voters approve or will they reject a Democratic-initiated referendum that would change, that would dramatically change the makeup of the state's congressional delegation ahead of the 2026 midterm elections? Democrats have a map on the table in Virginia that would take what is now a 6-5 majority for them in the congressional district and would turn it into a 10-1 nearly unanimous Democratic delegation. That is what voters are voting on as we speak. The polls are going to be closing in Virginia less than 15 minutes from now. I'm over at our green monster of a backdrop here with a giant map of Virginia. I like to stand here as long as I can because it's warm. This thing emits a lot of heat, but I'm going to head over now, show you the rest of the studio, where we will be tonight as all the results come in. And as always, our promise to you, we are going to show you all the results. You won't miss any, and we will stay on until we get a call. And by we, I mean me and this gentleman right here, Adam Naboa, my producer, data cruncher extraordinaire. Adam, you ready to go?
I am ready to go. One development I do want to flag to you right off the bat from the decision desk, our colleague Andrew Arenge, he's been tracking all the data throughout the day today. He's got a number, overall voter turnout, which is voted by mail, voted early, and voted so far today on election, is tracking to be about 90% of the 2025 vote, basically. And then turnout today, which is kind of election day voters, there's a bit of an imbalance. He says in traditionally Democratic supported communities, we're about 87% of 2025, and in Republican supporting jurisdictions, we're about 96% of the 2025 general election vote. So it's up on our live blog. But some interesting stuff already coming in about Virginia today.
Okay, interesting. And Adam will have more nuggets like that throughout the night, obviously. And I mean, that's a good reference point. And we're going to be using that a lot tonight, the 2025 governor's race in Virginia. Remember, I was here just a couple months ago. You were watching, if not here, somewhere on election night 2025. And you remember it was an absolute landslide in Virginia. Abigail Spanberger, the Democrat, won by close than 16 points. Wasn't much of a campaign there. It was a huge night for Democrats in Virginia. It was also a huge night for Democrats in New Jersey. And on that November election night, it was also a big night for Democrats in California. Remember, in California, they basically did this back in November. Democrats there, led by Gavin Newsom, wanted to do an aggressive redraw of the state's congressional map. They had to get voter approval. It was on the ballot last November on the general election night. It passed easily in California, and I think clearly it inspired the Democrats who, because of the governorship and the more robust majorities that they got in Virginia out of that off-year election, I think it inspired them certainly to try the same here in Virginia tonight. So, look, we're getting some indications, as Adam just said there, of maybe higher turnout in Republican areas relative to 2025. Keep in mind, Republicans are, when we're using 25 as the benchmark, Republicans are starting from way behind. You know, one of the things we saw in 2025, here's the map of Virginia, Southwest Virginia, rural Southwest Virginia. It's where Republicans do the best in the state. The turnout was lower here relative to like Northern Virginia, the Richmond suburbs, the more sort of population dense and Democratic flavored areas of the state. So, we hear an update like that. If you're a Republican, you're certainly encouraged, but that's something you absolutely have to have. You got to do significantly better turnout wise than you did in November of 2025. Interesting, too, what Adam said there just about the overall level of turnout here. Again, 2020, that's a big election, a governor's race in Virginia. And here's a referendum. They don't normally do these things in the middle of April in Virginia. And we're looking at turnout that's pretty close, to what we had in that November election. So tell you what's going to happen tonight. You see the countdown clock. I'm looking at it. Just over 10 minutes till polls close. In Virginia, we always talk about, we're trying to track when get these county results. Are we looking at the vote by mail? Are we looking at the election day vote or the early vote? 3 different types of vote. And there's a very different sort of partisan flavor to those different types of vote. And they do it differently. They count it in different sequences in different counties. It's not, some places some states it's very sort of orderly. In Virginia, it's a little more chaotic here. But to take you through sort of how I think the night is going to unfold for us, the place that I'm going to spend the first, half an hour, 45 minutes really building up towards is right here. It's Loudoun County. This big ex-urban county, suburban ex-urban county outside of Washington, D.C. If you know politics, and if you're watching this, you certainly do, you know Loudoun County here. This is part of that Northern Virginia area, the sort of the sprawling D.C. suburbia that has gotten much more Democratic through the years. So Loudoun County is a blue county now. It's a safely Democratic county, and I fully expect that this referendum is going to pass in Loudoun County tonight. So why am I drawing attention to it? Because of all of the really, really big population centers in Virginia. If past is prologue, we're going to get complete results from Loudoun before we get them from any other giant place in the state. In the 2025 gubernatorial election, they basically reported out their vote in Loudoun County in 3 increments. In fact, I got them right here. At 7:26 p.m., they gave us the early vote. That was a third of all the vote that was cast in Loudoun County. 10 minutes later, they gave us all the vote that was cast on Election Day. That's about half the vote. And then a minute after that, they gave us the vote by mail. That's about 10% of the vote. We had all of Loudoun County, basically, by 7:38 p.m. In the 2025 gubernatorial election. In the presidential election in 24, Loudoun was also early. It took a little bit longer. There were more votes to count. But I think we may get a complete picture from Loudoun before a lot of other places. And so, one of the things you're going to hear from me a lot tonight as we get these county and city results is benchmarks. And what we've done here, this is what I'm going to be using tonight. This is sort of our Bible for Virginia tonight. As we get results from these counties and independent cities in Virginia, there's 139 of them, we've put a benchmark together. It's our best estimate of sort of what the break-even point is in each county. So for the number I would give you as a benchmark in Loudoun County is going to be 44. Well, let me show you this. Loudoun County looked like this in the presidential election, right? Okay, so blue county, Harris won it by 16 points. This was actually, an improvement for Donald Trump, a pretty big improvement relative to how he did in 2020, but it was still, Trump got 40% here. Remember, Trump didn't win the state. He lost it by 6. This is a county where Glenn Youngkin, when he got elected governor as a Republican in 21, he got closer, but he didn't win it. Long way of saying, when you put that together, some other considerations with demographics and such, 44 is the benchmark that we've set for Loudoun County tonight. So if we do get Loudoun early, and it sort of is the first big one we get, that's the number we're going to be pointing to. And that's the number we're going to be pointing to in terms of the no side of this. We're going to benchmark this for the no side. If the number is higher than 44 for the no side from Loudoun County, that's a very encouraging sign if you're on the no side of this. And if that no number is lower than 44 when we get that Loudoun County result, that's a very encouraging sign if you're on the yes side of this thing. So that may be, if past is prologue, you can always have surprises on these election nights, one of the first big readouts that we get. We are going to be getting parts of other big counties, other big parts of the state, that will be coming in early as well. One type of county and city that I'm going to be pointing to a lot tonight, they're going to be I call them the sort of the swing counties. They went for Spanberger in the governor's race last year, a Democrat, and they went for Glenn Youngkin, a Republican, in the governor's race in 2021. Now, there are 16 of those in Virginia. The biggest ones, 2 of the biggest ones are right down here. Virginia Beach, city of Virginia Beach, and then right next door, that's the city of Chesapeake, Virginia. There's about 450,000 people in Virginia Beach. There's like 250,000 in Chesapeake. I'll call them up here and show you. Again, Virginia Beach, this is what it looked like in the presidential election. This was a very narrow win for Kamala Harris. Abigail Spanberger won here pretty convincingly last year. Glenn Youngkin won here pretty convincingly. So Virginia Beach is one. If you're on the no side of this referendum, the no side has to carry Virginia Beach, and it has to carry it probably by a somewhat healthy margin. Youngkin won it by 8 when he was elected governor. Probably has to be about a 5-point margin for the no side here. That'd be about the benchmark. Chesapeake right next door, pretty similar here. The no side has to carry this one tonight. It has to carry it by a pretty comfortable margin, probably 4 or 5 points, something like that. The closest thing, I think, to a pure bellwether of any real size tonight in Virginia is right here. It's Chesterfield County, one of the biggest counties of the state, big suburban bedroom community, a suburb of Richmond. And again, this is one of those places, it's getting more and more Democratic. It's demographic changes, a lot of new residents coming in from out of the area, diversifying population. So, Spanberger won this county easily last year. She won it by 18 points. I want to show you something else about Chesterfield County. It's one of the few big counties in the country that actually, look at this, Biden won it here, you could see, by about 6.5 points. Harris did better than Biden. You don't see that in many places on the map across the country in 2024, but Harris actually improved. Even as she was doing much worse than Biden nationally and much worse throughout Virginia, she actually got better here. That's the sort of demographic change that's taking place in Chesterfield County. It's getting more Democratic. Now, long way of saying, when Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, got elected governor in 2021, he carried Chesterfield County. He carried it by 4 points. So you could have moved that forward 5 years. It's gotten a little more Democratic in those 5 years. When Youngkin won it by 4 points, he was winning statewide by 2. So there was a little bit of a pad there. I think Chesterfield County, when you look at that one tonight, that could be one of those where as Chesterfield County goes, so goes this referendum statewide. It's pretty close to a bellwether there, so we'll be paying extra attention to Chesterfield County, but many other places here as well. Not necessarily places that are going to be that close in terms of the result, but again, we're looking the densely populated sort of big suburban counties right outside Washington D.C. Prince William County, I think we could get relatively early get the results from Prince William County. In fact, yes. In the governor's race last year, 8:11 p.m., we basically had all the results from Prince William County. Now, it's a Democratic stronghold. Okay, it was Spanberger won it by 33 points. So, Prince William County is the kind of place, again, you expect the yes side to carry it. The question is the margin, right? And again, the benchmark, I'll just give you now. We'll talk about this later. The benchmark, again, we had to pick. When I say benchmark, I want one number. I had to pick, is it the number the no side wants? Is it the number the yes side wants? I went alphabetically. No comes before yes in the alphabet. So we're giving you a benchmark here on the no side. The no side, 40. If the no side is higher than 40 in Prince William County, good sign for the no side. If it's lower, good sign for the yes side. Again, we could get a fairly early readout there from Prince William County. Obviously, the biggest single county in the state, heavily Democratic right up here. Fairfax County, something like 15% of all the votes statewide is going to come from Fairfax County. Also a pretty big one, very small geographically, but Arlington, right outside Washington, D.C. here. Again, you're just talking about extremely Democratic territory here, though. And again, so it's just a question there of the margin when we get that. But just resetting here, I see it's 2 minutes and change till polls close. My promise to you is I never want to go off the results when they're coming in. So we have 2 minutes here. I'm going to go off this map the only time tonight before results come in, because I just want to show you in terms of clarifying the stakes tonight. Oh my gosh, tons of numbers here. This is a look at the House battlefield here. We're just kind of forget about this side of it right now. I want to look at these. We're comparing the House battlefield in 2018, Trump's midterm. Remember, Democrats gained 40 seats in the House in 2018 and they flipped it. So what does the landscape look like now compared to 2018? And remember, in 2018, the Democratic gains, that 40-seat gain, basically came from two categories. It came from districts that were represented by Republicans in Congress, but that Trump had lost in the presidential election. There were 25 of those in 2018, and they were basically emptied out in that blue wave. They basically, almost all of them, flipped Republican to Democrat. And then the other category was Republican seats, but Trump had carried them by less than 7.5 points. And about 2/3 of these flipped Republican to Democrat in 2018. Just about all the Democratic gains in 18 came from one of these two places. The thing you see here is in 2026, there's just much less opportunity for Democrats. Through gerrymandering, that's a big thing, that sort of happened, the sorting of the population. There's just fewer targets for Democrats here. Tonight, the significance of the Democratic effort in Virginia to redraw the map, if it succeeds, this number of 8 by the end of tonight then would go to 12, all right? 4 new seats. This map in Virginia would take 4 existing Republican seats and change them so much that Trump would have lost them in the presidential election. So that's sort of the stakes. It's very big stakes. By the way, when all of this gerrymandering, this drama started, mid-decade gerrymandering started, this number was only 3. Remember, we said the Democrats did this in California. That's a big reason why it got up to 8. It could go to 12 tonight. 15 seconds till poll close. Let me get off this screen. Let me go back to the map. We will live on this all night. By the way, the other thing to keep in mind is we count. Well, let's count. It's like New Year's Eve. Let's count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polls are closed. In Virginia, it's too early to call, as there are 0 votes right now to look at. And so now we wait for this to start lighting up. It does generally take a few minutes, I think, to really kind of get things going here in Virginia. So we may have, a 15 or so minute window here where there's not a ton coming in. Anything that comes in, though, we will obviously dive right into it. And I think, again, the way we're going to kind of do this tonight is any county we're getting results in, I'm going to just be giving you that benchmark. And just remember, the benchmark, I'm just giving you the number that the no side, sort of the break-even number for the no side, right? So again, anywhere I'm giving you the benchmark, it's the number that the no side wants to hit and go higher than, okay? So if they're hitting it or going higher than it, wherever I'm showing you, that's a great sign for the no side. If they're falling short of it, that's a great sign for the yes side, okay? So that's how we're going to kind of do this tonight. And again, it took a few minutes to kind of get things going. Adam, I need a tissue is what I need. That's what
We'll get you a tissue.
Take care of this now. Sometimes it gets a little cold in the studio. My nose starts running a little bit. I'm going to make sure I do that off the camera so nobody has to see that. Again, I 16 counties or cities here that are marginal. We will every time one of those sort of comes up here, we will go heavy into that. Another place I think we might have had some. I'll tell you what, let me just step. Guys, I'm not leaving. Oh, thank you. Okay, I hope they turned my microphone down for that. That was the most disgusting part of the night, folks. I apologize for that. Now we're good to go. Thank you very much. Okay, so again, there's the 16 swing counties. Anytime we're in any of those, we will make a big to-do about it. As a matter of fact, I think one of the other counties where we tend to get early results, let me make sure I'm right. Yeah, it's very, very small. But one of those 16 counties is Surry County, and it's it's right outside. Basically, it's right here, Surry County, sort of along the James River. It's very small, but it's one of those counties that I think is in that marginal camp. It was Spamberger, it was Youngkin, and I think I've set a benchmark here in Surry County. Let me see. Yeah, the benchmark I've set here for the no side is 52, and it was one of the first counties in Virginia in 2025 in the governor's race, one of the first counties where we got full results. So it's small, but again, the way this is going to work tonight, anytime we get full results from a county, that county becomes extra significant because then we can really make the comparisons, the comparisons to past results that we're looking to make here. So Surry County, yeah, in fact, it was the third county in the state. County or independent city where we had full results. Yeah, if you want them all, just, while I got a few minutes here, the first county where we had full, complete results. We'll get little bits and pieces here much before this, but Westmoreland County, this is a small place, small, very Republican county on the northern neck, right up in here. Oh, we've got a little bit. That was the first one to come in. We've got a little bit coming in here from the Middle Peninsula. This is very Republican. This is Matthews County here. Again, this is small. This is a county of about 8,000 people here. The benchmark that I set here, okay, this is about 3/4 of the vote. And Adam, let me ask you, do you know right away what kind of vote we're looking at here?
I'll take a look.
That becomes a key question. Not that Matthews County is the be-all and end-all. It's only 8,000 people, but it's the only county we got numbers for so far. The benchmark that I've set here for the no side.
This should be early in person.
Okay, this is not the election day vote.
It did not get categorized that way coming in.
Okay, that's important. So this is, again, a good example here of how the night's going to work. We got a big chunk of vote in this county. Okay, the no side is at 70%. Again, it's a very Republican county here. The benchmark for no is 75. So you're looking at this and you're saying, boy, this is not good for no, right? This is good for yes. But the critical point there is what Adam just said. The remaining vote, we're at 73%. The remaining vote is that same day vote, the vote that was cast in person today. And of those three types of vote we're always talking about, the most Republican is the same day vote. So you would expect that as the rest of this vote comes in, this 70% number will go north. It will get better for the no side. And the question then becomes, will it get better enough that this 70.4 goes higher than 75? That's the benchmark. That's where it is. We know what vote is in. We know what the outstanding vote is. So now it becomes a question. That's how we can contextualize the vote that we just got in Matthews County. So that's, again, extrapolate that to every county. That's what we're going to be doing. And it's going to vary. Sometimes we're going to get the initial report, and it's going to be the vote by mail in some counties. Some counties we're going to get the initial report, and it's going to be the election day vote. Now, here we go. Take a look. We just got, now this is the city of Norfolk. Well, this is sometimes we're going to get a tiny, tiny scattering of votes that it's tough to categorize. This the city of Norfolk, this is a very big city. This is an overwhelmingly Democratic city. We're not even getting a full type of any vote right here in this. This is just a scattering of early votes right here. But Norfolk, the city of Norfolk, like I said, overwhelmingly Democratic. And let me just call my the benchmark that I set here for the no side is 30. Okay. 30 in this in this city. So again, but that's such a small scattering there. We can't say, we can't even say as much about the Norfolk vote we just got as we can the vote from Matthews County. So zoom out here, and I'm just eyeing this map to see if anything else comes in. That's your running statewide tally there. As I'm looking at the map, I'm going to tell you the other thing to keep in mind that we're going to be doing tonight. If you've been watching this, you know how this works. Our streaming channel here, NBC News Now. Come back to that. We got some stuff is starting to come in here. Just kind of going through. I'm going to see where we've got the most significant vote from any of these new counties that we just got vote batches from 10%. I'm looking for anything more than 10% here. Richmond, okay, again, Richmond County is a lot like Matthews County. This is very small, very rural, very Republican. I'm only showing you because we do have 53% of the vote there. Adam, can you tell me what that vote looks like in terms of what type it is?
In Richmond?
Yeah.
Taking a look.
Is this the same as Matthews? And I ask because the benchmark here is 70 for no. And is this the same thing where we're waiting on the same day vote?
It's not clear. It didn't come in categorized.
Okay, I suspect it is. I suspect what we saw in Matthews is what we're seeing there. We're also getting here a big chunk of Fairfax City. This is not Fairfax County. This is the independent city within Fairfax County. About 25,000 people in Fairfax City. And immediately we're getting a big chunk of the vote reported out there. Now, the benchmark that we have set for the no side in Fairfax City is 37. We got 33 for no with what initially came in. What can you tell me? Okay. So zoom back.
I see Fairfax City. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's early in-person votes in Fairfax City.
Okay.
Most of these votes that have been coming in have been early in person.
Yep.
We only got one jurisdiction with some mail-in.
Okay, that's very important here because again, that leaves the same day piece of it. We say there's 3 buckets here. In the past, give or take, the same day vote's been about half of all the vote. The early vote's been about 40%. The mail's been about 10%. So the mail is by far the most Democratic, but it's the smallest, by far the smallest. So what you're looking at here, it looks like, is the early vote. And again, the benchmark is 37. We just got a big chunk here. Let me zoom back out. This is big. Wow, I said loud and, okay, well, I said we get loud and early. Sometimes, again, they don't report the entire type of any bucket at once. You just get a scattering. We just got a scattering in Loudoun there. Tough to categorize that in any meaningful way. We're going to need more vote from Loudoun County. But remember what we said about Loudoun County, 44 being the benchmark there. Where else do we have significant vote right now, Adam?
Prince William, I think, has 5,000 vote.
Okay, that hasn't populated yet. Okay. Okay, now
Prince George.
This is now we're in rural Southwest Virginia here. Again, the no side, the benchmark here would be 80.
We just got some more in Loudoun that came in.
Okay, now we're starting to get somewhere with Loudoun here. What do we know about the type here that we're looking at? This looks like I think they must have.
Yeah, that's election day vote.
Election day vote. Okay, so this is election day vote. This is the most sort of Republican friendly. And this, we think, is the most friendly to the no side Remember, the no benchmark here is 44. They're running the no side at 46 right here, but that's with sort of their most friendly vote. So again, well, this number is going to change as these different votes sort of come in, but this is a huge one to keep an eye on. I see Virginia Beach. What do we have in Virginia Beach? Again, this is just 2%. Can't say anything too meaningful about that. We're up to 8% here in Norfolk, sitting at 69.31. Chesterfield, we got to, again, just you get those very small scattered reports there, but again, just sort of showing you, Prince George County. So Prince George County with 44% of the vote here. The no side's running at 60. The benchmark that we have for the no side here is 63. These are very incomplete pictures, though, right now that we have. 4%. 11%. I'm just looking for somewhere where we've got a little bit more of a meaningful chunk of the vote. And we showed you Richmond. We showed you Matthews. Nothing more is coming in Matthews. Right? Oh, Matthews is near complete. So, okay, this is interesting. Remember what we said about Matthews County. This is small. It is a very, very small county, but very, very Republican county with a benchmark of 75 and a no side right now running at 71, short of the benchmark. Still a little bit of vote left there. I want to understand what that might be. But that, it's one very, very small county, but that's the closest thing to a complete county we have right now. We're still at 10% in Loudoun County. Again, just sort of taking a look around here for where there's substantial vote. These are very small counties in Southwest Virginia here. These are going to be very Republican, very no-friendly counties out here. Again, just seeing if we've got, okay, we got about 36% here. This is 86%, I think I said, is the benchmark. Again, just, okay, Fredericksburg. Okay, we've got half in Fredericksburg. This is, okay, you're right in that I-95 corridor here. This is a very Democratic area. This is, okay, we're going to have a News Now hit here in a few minutes. Boy, okay, so the benchmark that we've set, hang on a second here. 37 is the benchmark for the no side in Fredericksburg. So running south of that right now. Then right outside of it is Spotsylvania County here. This is one of those, the sprawl of Northern Virginia starting to hit here into Spotsylvania County. We don't have much to say there. It's just a scattering.
We have all the early in person in Loudoun.
All the early, oh, wow. So now it's not the same day.
Not the same day. I think it got recategorized. Sorry, we have, because I see there's 80,000 votes there, or 76,000. We have 46,000 of them are early in person, and they broke 60-40 for yes. And then for the election day votes, which is about 26,000, we have that breaking 56-44 for yes.
Okay, so we have a mix here of same day.
Same day and early in person.
And no mail.
And no mail.
We have no mail. Okay, so this is, look, we got half the vote in Loudoun County. The most, it's the very sort of yes/Democratic friendly vote by mail is not in this. Again, we've set a benchmark here for the no side of 44. There is more same day to come.
Yes.
There's substantially more same day to come. That same day vote has got to run. And Adam said it's running for the yes side, though, right now.
That's right.
That's got to get less friendly to yes for the no. This is initially not an encouraging sign if you're on the no side of this. This is an encouraging sign if you're on the yes side of this, with about half the vote in here in Loudoun County. I do want to say we are going to be doing a few hits tonight on News Now. That's our streaming. In 90 seconds, I've got to do a hit for News Now. If you've watched these before, you know how it works. Let me just reset to the statewide so you don't miss anything. This is what it looks like statewide. 5% of the vote is in. You will get to see that hit. You'll get to hear the anchor, Tom Yamas, interacting with me. It's about a 2-minute hit. You will not miss anything with the results. This will stay up as we go through the hit, and then as soon as it's over, seamlessly we'll pick right back up here. So just bear with us. But that's the most significant thing that has happened so far, is what we've seen there in Loudoun County. And again, that's, if you're on the no side of this, you want to be north of 44%, and you've got a fair amount of same-day vote in there. You got the early vote in there. That the early vote. And we just got another big update in Loudoun County. We just got another big update. What was that, Adam? What type of vote was that?
It hasn't been categorized yet,
okay.
so okay. I would presume it's election day.
Okay, we just, as you can see here, 10% of the vote just came in Loudoun County. That no number's down to under 41%. They need 44. It's a very bad sign if you're no in a very big county. Next year. And folks, they're just, I don't know if you can hear it.
All right, and polls have just closed in Virginia, where voters are deciding to approve or deny a new Democratic-drawn congressional map that could give Democrats a major advantage heading into the midterms and even shift the balance of power in a closely divided House of Representatives. NBC's Steve Kornacki is at the big board tonight. Steve, we have a graphic here showing the old and new districts. Explain how this new map would benefit Democrats and explain to us this lobster district that everyone is talking about, because it is monstrous, if you will.
Yeah, Tom, I mean, this is what gerrymandering looks like, Tom. This is the redrawing or the drawing of congressional lines to clearly give one side a partisan advantage. And in Virginia, where Democrats control the levers of power, that's what they're attempting to do. And so to gerrymander, it means often you're going to have to create very oddly shaped districts that sort of, they swoop into certain areas that benefit your party, and then they sort of cut away from areas that don't, and you try to consolidate the other party into as few districts as possible. And the upshot of it is it's a 6-5 map right now for the Democrats. 11 congressional districts in the state, 6 of them Democratic, 5 of them Republican. If this plan is approved tonight, and you can see we've now got close to 10% of the vote in statewide, the yes side is leading here. And the yes side's gotten some encouraging numbers early from one key county, certainly. So if that yes side does win tonight, 6-5 for the Democrats, becomes 10-1 for the Democrats. And that map you're showing would then go into effect. And Republicans were certainly hoping, and are certainly hoping, that the sort of the pretty explicit nature of the gerrymandering, looking at a map like that, clearly seeing what's going on, that would unnerve voters and sort of be too far, a bridge too far for voters tonight. We'll see in the results if that does give pause here. But again, it was the difference tonight between 6-5 going in, and if this map passes, 10-1 for the Democrats.
All right. And then, Steve, how consequential could this be heading into the midterms, especially talking about balance of power, as we're going to watch everything that happens from now until November?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's very significant because, look, at the start of this midterm cycle, there were only 3 Republican districts in the country that were sort of in this most vulnerable category that had voted against Donald Trump. If this map passes tonight, that adds 4 more to it. There's already been some other states that have gotten in the mix. There'll now be 12 Republican districts around the country that, under these new lines, would have voted against Trump. There's a lot more opportunities for Democrats. They've sort of drawn themselves, especially in California last fall, and what they're trying to do here in Virginia tonight.
Yeah, before you go, we do so much reporting on sort of gerrymandering and the redrawing of congressional maps. And lately, Republicans have been getting a lot of flack for it in different states like Texas and things like that. I know this is a little bit out of your wheelhouse, but you're a very astute political observer. What are Democrats essentially saying tonight? Are they saying that they need to fight fire with fire?
Yeah, I mean, they've made that case. They've said, look, Republicans started, this is what the Democrats would say, Republicans started this in Texas last year. The president encouraged Republicans in Texas to redraw that map for a partisan advantage. Republicans in Texas did that. Republicans in some other states have done that. And so Democrats have made the case, yes, that if they're going to do that, they say, then we're going to do that. Gavin Newsom said that out in California last fall. And Democrats in Virginia, again, they had a big election last November in Virginia. Democrats had a big night. They won the governorship in a landslide. They had a big night in the state legislature, and they've chosen to use that power in part to do this.
Steve Kornacki, he can do the ponies, he can do the congressional districts, and he can do the analysis. Steve, we thank you for that. We appreciate it. We're back in a moment with...
Thanks, Tom. Okay, so folks, here we go. We had more come in. Adam, what's the big stuff that came in while we were doing that?
The big stuff is, we had that Loudoun County vote right before the thing. We think that was more election day vote.
Yeah.
I think that's the big headline this
I see Arlington
right
County at 45% too. So yep. Arlington County, this is it's tiny. This is very big population-wise here in Virginia. Now, this is like as Democratic as it gets. But again, this is like the benchmark here for the no side. And in Arlington County, by the way, I believe they put out the mail vote. They tend to put out the vote by mail first. No, excuse me, they don't. They don't typically. This is actually the benchmark that we have here for the no side is 26 in Arlington County tonight. And they're sitting here running right now at 16%. Again, one of the hopes here for the no side has been a place like Arlington County, overwhelmingly Democratic, but they hope there'd be some slack in that normal Democratic vote for the reasons we were just talking about with Tom, that this thing looks like a pretty blatant case of gerrymandering, and they were hoping that this is the kind of place where the normal Republican number of somewhere in the teens would become a no number somewhere in the mid-20s. That's what you see with almost half the vote in Arlington County. That's the benchmark for the no side. And again, it's tiny geographically. This is big population-wise. More than 2% of all the votes statewide is going to come out of Arlington County. Next door.
Steve.
Yes.
I do have a note for you over here, and we do have 3 places that have started, or basically fully reported, if we want to take a look through those. Small Bath, Small Matthews, and Small Lexington are all at about 95% in.
Yep.
If you want to compare margins.
Yes, I just want to go through the big ones here that we've got. Prince William County, again, we got half the vote in Prince William County. This is one of the largest counties in the state here. And again, the benchmark for no is 40, and they're running at 36, right? So 36, you need 40. Loudoun County, oh my goodness, Loudoun County, we are now up to 81% of the vote. I said this might be the first big one we get full report from. We're getting close here, and we're only 20 minutes in, and look at this. The no number continues to drop in Loudoun County. 38.7. Remember when we started this, it was a couple ticks over 40. It's now 38.7. There's a 36. What just happened? It just went down to 42%. Did we take back an update? We took back an update in Loudoun County. Can you ask what just happened there?
Okay, I will ask.
Okay, thank you. We took back an update in Loudoun County. Let me get back to that. Sometimes that's what happened. Things get entered into our system. They populate in. And we took back an update in Prince William County as well, it would appear.
That's right.
Let's get clarity on what just happened there. That's both of those are significant. Sometimes this will happen in our system. Again, this is there can be transcription errors. There can be errors here just in terms of how it populates. They come in initially. Take a look. Okay, now we've got Prince William back up.
Yeah, those went back in.
Okay, so you can see here the number we were showing you in Prince William before. This is basically where it was before. So it came off, but it went right back on. And I'm just looking here if Loudoun County is in Loudoun County. Okay, this is what happens. We happened to be on the county when there was a very temporary 30-second blip here. Everything is what I was showing you before. I apologize for that little panicky moment there, but we've got 84% of the vote in. This is hugely, hugely significant. 84% of the vote is in Loudoun County. The no side is running at 38.7%. The benchmark here is 44 points. To run that far short of your benchmark in a county as big as Loudoun County is something close to disastrous for the no side. This is exactly the kind of place. When use the sort of the example of Glenn Youngkin, a Republican who managed to win in Virginia. That's not easy to do these days. Youngkin won Virginia by 2 points in 2021. When he did, he was able to keep it to 9. His loss in Loudoun was 9. The result tonight for the no side needed to be somewhere near there. Low teens. As I said, 44 points is the benchmark. They are way short of that benchmark, and there are not that many votes left to be counted in Loudoun County. Now, if we were seeing something different elsewhere, Prince William County, another giant county in Virginia, each one of these, Loudoun and Prince William, you're talking about 5% of all the votes statewide. Between the two of them, 1 out of every 10 votes statewide is going to come out of one of these counties. You're looking at no running at 36% right here. We're looking at a benchmark for the no side of 40 points. Again, massive population center here, the kind of place where the no side thought there would be some give in the electorate. They would look at a Democratic-leaning electorate that would look at this proposal and say, that's too much. That's too much partisanship. That's too much gerrymandering. That's what they were hoping. A place like Loudoun, a place like Prince William was especially where you would see it. You're not seeing it so far in the results in either one of those places. These are very encouraging numbers if you are on the yes side of this. Checking back in Arlington County, we showed you this before. And again, that no number has ticked up just a little bit. It needs to be well into the 20s for no to have a chance statewide. As a matter of fact, given what we're seeing in Prince William and in Loudoun County, it may need to be higher than, they're going to have pull a surprise somewhere else if these numbers hold in those two places. Taking a look next door in Alexandria, again, very similar to Arlington in terms of the dynamics I'm describing, 18% of the vote right there. And again, you're looking at a benchmark here of 26 for no. They're a little closer there, but they're still short of it right there. Where else can we look? We can get a little bit outside here. Fauquier County, about 2/3 of the vote is in here. Now you're getting into more Republican territory. But again, the benchmark that we set for the no side in Fauquier is 65%. They're running at 60% with 2/3 of the vote in right there. Take a look down in Stafford County. Stafford County is becoming kind of a swing county in Virginia. Stafford County, the no side needs to win. We think the no side needs it with 52. Okay, here is a county where no is getting its best news so far. It's running 1 point over the benchmark with only a quarter of the vote. That may well be that election day vote that's a little bit more friendly to the no side than the rest of the vote to come. They're running 1 point over right there. Checking back in here in Loudoun County, we've got even a little bit more here, 61-38. Again, it's way, way short there for the no side. Still half the vote in right there.
You had your first report in Chesterfield.
We got a first report in Chesterfield County. Okay, this is one right now, a little bit more than a third of the vote. And again, Chesterfield County, you're talking about something size-wise right on the same scale as what I was just showing you in Prince William and Loudoun County. This is what I said was sort of the as goes Chesterfield, potentially so goes the state. Now, Chesterfield County, in terms of the sequence of vote reporting, this becomes key. So let's go through this one together here. And I do have it right here. Sorry about this. Yeah.
We think this is election day.
Yeah, we think it's election day vote. What happens in Chesterfield County typically is the mail vote is the vote by mail here comes in last. And what happened in 2025 in the governor's race in Chesterfield County was they spent the first hour and a half of the night coming in with the same day vote. It was as Republican friendly. It was the Republican friendly vote. Then they had one big drop at the early vote that moved it a little bit towards the Democrats. And then at the very end of the night, they reported out their vote by mail. And again, the vote by mail tends to be overwhelmingly Democratic, and it moved the margin. It was so Democratic, that final update, that it moved Spanberger's margin. It pushed it 3.5 points more in her favor. So if that's the trajectory here, that what is still to come is Democratic flavored with a big burst of vote by mail at the end of the night, then this yes number is going to tick up well into the 50s. This no number is going to fall down. Again, we said this might be the swing of swing counties. As goes Chesterfield, so goes the state. That's a discouraging number if you're on the no side here, because this may be as good as it gets, roughly, for the no side. Taking a look here in Virginia Beach, we got 20% in. The no side is leading right there. But again, Virginia Beach, they do report out the election day vote first. We saw a big shift in Virginia Beach in the 2025 gubernatorial election between this first update at the start of the night and the final update at the end of the night. They spend the first 2 hours or so, in 25 at least, reporting out election day vote. Then boom, they hit you with a batch of mail. And then boom, they hit you with their early vote. And that moves it more Democratic on a scale of like 7 or 8 points. So again, this number here, this is a decent number for no, and if this were to hold in Virginia Beach, it'd be a great number. But I think what's to come there is going to change that a little bit. Chesapeake, only 5% there. We teed up Surrey County as potentially a swing, only 11% right there. I don't want to lose sight of any sort of big population centers right here. Montgomery County, this is where Blacksburg is, Virginia Tech. This is sort of a swing county too. This is one of those Spanberger-Youngkin counties. We don't have enough there to say too much right now, though. So again, we continue to look here, just looking in sort of, I say, Northern Virginia expansively here. I'm seeing if we have, did you say we got about half in Amherst? Okay, so let's take a look here. Getting more to like the Shenandoah Valley area here. Benchmark for the no side is 72, but we think this is same day vote. So again, 72, they're running at 77. That number could come down. This is not that bad for the no side next door. What do we have for a benchmark here? They're running at 82. Benchmark is 75. Okay, so they are hitting numbers here. Okay, Highland County, tiny. High elevations. The average elevation is 2,800 feet here. 2/3 of the vote, 77% is the benchmark they're running. So they are, this is a very rural, very Republican area. But just take you through them because we've been showing. Okay, Bath County, again, very small. We got to complete. Okay, The benchmark we set for the no side here, this basically means it's complete. So here we go. The benchmark we set was 80. They're running at 81. So they're basically hitting just what they would need to hit to be on track statewide. The problem, though, is this is it's very small, but just use this as an example. If this is happening in all these small Republican places collectively, they probably need to do better than that based on what we're seeing come out of Loudoun County tonight. Loudoun County, that no number is just too low right now if you're on the no side. That no number is probably too low if you're on the no side in Prince William County. Prince William County, by the way, in 2025, yep. I thought I had that here. I think I lost that sheet. Okay. Do we have more in Chesterfield? No, we're sitting at 36. Where else do we have significant vote, Adam? Taking a look here, Newport News.
Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
Virginia Beach.
Do we get more in Virginia Beach?
Yeah, it's just a couple thousand votes each
Yeah.
in all of these places.
Yeah.
Arlington, we just got another 3,000 votes.
Okay. What's Arlington? Let's see what Arlington is running at, because this is one of the big ones. Put it up there. Again, the no side. So it appears we're getting same-day vote reported out here. That's moving that no number north, but it's at 18.5. Again, the benchmark for the no side is 26. Yeah, this is overwhelmingly Democratic, but there is a big difference between running at like 20% and 26% in a county as big as this. Fairfax City, we got most of. Okay, again, 25,000 people here, overwhelmingly Democratic. We had a benchmark here for the no side at 37. They're running a little bit short of that right here. We got Manassas. Okay, the city of Manassas here, we got 3/4 of the vote in. We set a benchmark here on the, I got to read my own writing here. 42. We put a benchmark of 42 on Manassas. The no side is running at 37. And again, outside of that is Prince William, which we have. I'll zoom out and I'll show you the statewide. A third of the vote is in statewide. So again, you're seeing the no side lead this thing statewide. You're getting, though, we took you through some of these big counties here, some discouraging signs there for the yes side. I think one thing to keep in mind here is if you look at the overall statewide, how it tends to report out in Virginia collectively, it does tend to be more Republican friendly early on in the night and then move towards the Democrats as the night goes on. If you were watching in the 2024 presidential election, remember Virginia ended up more interesting than we'd been expecting. Trump lost it by 6. He was doing much better in the early portion of the night. So again, the no side is leading here, but you would expect, but there is, for the reasons we're telling you with the types of votes and things.
Steve, one flag from our analytics team at the decision desk. They're circling in on Loudoun County if you want to bring that up.
Yep.
They just point out it's counted more than 90% of its expected vote. The results currently show yes winning 61-39, a margin 6 points better than Harris performed in November 2024. They say while yes is overperforming in this large suburban county, we're also seeing no overperforming in some of the small Republican counties that are near complete.
Yeah, can you give me some of the smaller ones that are complete? Because we found Bath, which is tiny, but not complete. And, I may have it here too. Yeah, go ahead.
Lexington, Colonial Heights, Northampton, Matthews, Louisa is just complete now in the last few minutes.
Okay, Northampton is on our is a good one because it's on our this is on our list. This is small. Okay, Northampton is one of at the start of the night we said there are 16 swing counties in Virginia. We're talking Spanberger, they voted for 25 governor's race. Youngkin, they voted for 21. Northampton County, this is part of the Delmarva Peninsula here, is one of them. And this means we got most, if not all, the vote in Northampton County. And the no side you can see is losing here. Now, it's close, but it's losing. And I thought a good rule of thumb coming into the night was, of those 16, that fit that Spanberger Youngkin mold, I think the no side has to basically sweep them. They could probably afford a random hiccup in one of them, but they can't be falling just short. They have to sweep them. So Northampton, they're doing, this is better than Earl Sears did last year, but it is falling short there. It's small. It's a small place, but I flagged that because it's one of those 16 that we've identified. Just taking a quick look here, I think we got another one of them. Yeah, Waynesboro's another one. Waynesboro, this is now you're starting to, it's outside Charlottesville here. It's about 25,000 people. This is another one of the 16. It's relatively small, but here you got 70% of the vote, and the no side is, we call this one sort of, it's a must win certainly for the no side, but here the no side is leading, and interestingly, the benchmark that we set for the no side here was 54. So the no side is hitting right now 70% the benchmark, but they don't want to just hit it. They want to do better than that. Stanton, also 25,000 people nearby here. The no side running at 56% with 40% in, and that is that right now is in excess of the benchmark that we set. Again, we have a smaller amount of the vote that's in right there. Okay, zoom out again, statewide here, where that leaves us. Adam, anything big that's come in here additionally in the last couple, 2 minutes or so?
5,000 votes from Dinwiddie, 5,000 votes from King George. We got a little bit more in Loudoun. We're up to 93% there. It's a couple thousand. We're, getting steadily through the election day vote in all of these counties.
Yep. Okay. So again, let's take a look here. And I'm going to call this up. I have I thought I had this thing. Where do we got 95 here? We got Wise. This is a good one. Wise County out in far southwest Virginia, 95%. It's tiny, but it's small, but it speaks to this whole region here. Okay. The no side running at 85, the benchmark 84. It's hitting the number. One thing I'd be interested too, Adam, maybe you could take a look here, taking a look at some of these completed counties, how the turnout compares to 25, how close they're coming to 25 turnout in some of these Republican completed counties and some of these Democratic completed counties as well.
I do have Wise for you if you want.
Yeah.
We're at 86% of 2025, 56% of 2024.
86% of 25. What is Loudoun running at? At 93%, we still have more votes to come, 94%. What are they running at relative to 25?
83% of 25.
83. So you can extrapolate. They got some more vote to come in. They may hit that number as well. So taking a look here, let me see some of these others I could call up here. We got Louisa. It looks like we got Louisa County. Let me see here. So we got 95% here. Okay, this is a decent sized county here. Smallish, but it's better in size than some of those Southwest Virginia counties. Is what I'm trying to say. The benchmark we set here, this is a very Republican county. The benchmark we set for no is 67. They're running at 66. No's coming closer. I don't see him running above the benchmarks in these places. Where else can I look right here that we've got? Let me see. That's one of the biggest completed ones that we have here. Botetourt County here. What was Botetourt running at? Let me, where are we looking here? 95%, 70, so again, core Republican, Southwest Virginia here, 75, what's the, losing my own place right here, 78. We set a benchmark of 78. So they're short of it, we did get outside Albemarle, it's not much in Albemarle, okay. That's where Charlottesville is. What else here is near complete? Colonial Heights. I see Colonial Heights is coming in near complete. 68% in Colonial Heights. 69 is maybe I just do this. 69% is the benchmark I set there. Lexington, Adam was mentioning, has come in here. No side. This is where Washington and Lee University is. Here, zoom in here. Yeah, Lexington, we got, pretty complete here, small, but this is a sort of a 41 is the number we set for no. They're running at 38 here. Where else are we looking here? Let me just go through the map and see where we've got some.
We got one other.
As well, we got, 85 is the benchmark, 86. What do you got?
One other flag from our decision desk folks in Prince William County.
Yep.
We're still waiting for election day vote, but the early in-person vote is showing yes at 3 points over Harris, and mail is showing yes 2 points over Harris 2024 number.
Okay, right, and that's bearing on what we're seeing here. So the election day vote, let's see, it's going to if you're the no side, this election day vote in Prince William County, it's got to be substantially different because it's got to pull your overall no number north of 40 points. They really need to do that here. Again, every point they're short of 40 here in a county this big is massive. Loudoun County, again, just running right where it's been, 75% in Arlington. Again, we see that no number. They want 26. They're running at 19. Alexandria, not a ton more. Coming out of there, we have Manassas. We showed you. Let's see if we have Manassas Park. Only a third right there. Again, let's take a look down in Virginia Beach. It's slowly ticking in. Again, this is election day vote. This is good. If you're the no side, this is very good for you. But you do know that what's coming, again, we say that the late reports in Virginia Beach have typically made the vote significantly more Democratic, probably by about 7 points on net. Though that said, they're running 12 points ahead right here. And we said at the start of the night that the no side probably wants to be winning Virginia Beach by 5. Probably more than 5 from what we're seeing elsewhere in the state right now. But if you're the no side, you do like, I think, what you're seeing in Virginia Beach. You don't have a ton there in Chesapeake. And that's going to be the same thing as Virginia Beach. That's going to be election day vote for right now. Take a look next door, only 27%. I'm pretty much going through right now myself, just trying to see where we can find places with closer to 100% of the vote. So we got Prince George County right here, where that is true, and we have a benchmark here, Republican area. 63, the benchmark for the no side. They're hitting 65. Close to all the vote is in right there right now. Dinwiddie, you said 63 is the benchmark here for no. Again, they're short of it. You are seeing, a trend here of the no side generally coming just short of it or maybe just hitting it, but 2/3. Again, I'm looking for more than that right here. I just want to see anywhere where we can get close to 100%, 80% plus of the vote in right here. So we're just going to, Patrick.
Danville, King George, these are places that have come in that are near complete now.
Yeah, okay, 81, by the way. There's still some to come here, small core Republican. I'm looking for what we were hearing there from the decision desk about these sort of Republican areas that are overperforming. King George, well, we only got 45% King George. 66, the benchmark. 72 is what they're running at now. But again, I want to see, we showed you Bath. I want to see where we're getting closer to. Some more again, Adam, where we're going to be talking like 80% plus. Here's
80?
one. I'm sorry. Here's a decent sized one in Southwest Virginia. 89% in Washington County. The benchmark for the no side, core Republican area, the benchmark 81. They're right. I mean, they're if they hit the benchmark everywhere, that puts them right on the line between victory and defeat statewide. But that means you can't afford what you're seeing in Loudoun. You can't afford what you're seeing in Prince William. Do we have more from Chesterfield? Okay, Chesterfield now 46% of the vote is in, and the no side has moved ahead here. And again, what they're doing in Chesterfield County, so Chesterfield, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, these are 3 that I think we're going to spend a fair amount of time on here now. What they're doing in Chesterfield County, and I'm just going to use, if 2025 is a guide, they did have a number of small updates here of just the election day vote that came out really over the first hour and a half of vote counting. This was in November 2025. Then at 8:30, they had a big drop of the early vote. And as I said, at the very end, they reported out their vote by mail, which is set by 7:45 right now. So I suspect that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at Republican-friendly election day vote with those 2 big drops still to come right there. Again, this is where no wants to end up tonight in Chesterfield County. No would be thrilled to carry Chesterfield County. We said close to a bellwether, but I suspect that the vote still to come in Chesterfield County, a lot of the vote still to come, is going to be the early vote, and there's going to be not a huge chunk of it, but it's so Democratic when it comes in, that vote by mail, that it can move those results. So that's, this is where no would like to end up. I would be very uncertain if I were no that that's where you're going to end up there. Again, other sort of substantial population centers here. Stafford County we want to check in on. We did before. The no side needs to carry this by several points. I think 52 was our benchmark right there. Fauquier, okay, we're close to 100%. Were we before? Were we at 95% the last time we looked in Fauquier County? Well, we are now. And again, this is where this is the kind of place where that sprawl is starting to hit. So it's starting to grow, but it's still a lot of rural areas here. It's very Republican friendly. We put a benchmark on this for the no side of 65, and you can see they're falling a little bit short of it as it comes through, as it comes in tonight. So again, just I find that more significant in light of, again, what we're seeing in Loudoun and maybe seeing in Prince William, where if those numbers hold, then the no side needs to really start to juice it in some other places. So they're just a little bit short of it in Fauquier County. Warren County here, sort of next door. Again, almost complete here, very Republican, but the benchmark, we said 71. They're running at 69.7. That's close. That speaks to a close election statewide. And again, show you what it looks like statewide. That no side continuing to lead. By the way, if you are looking at this and you're saying, oh my goodness, it's a 129,000 margin there for no, you got 43% of the vote, 130,000 votes. Keep in mind, you have 0 votes from Fairfax County right now. Okay, like almost one, think of this entire state, right? This little gray area, almost 1 out of every 6 votes, 1 out of every 7 votes cast in Virginia tonight is going to be cast inside here. And it's overwhelmingly Democratic. It's one of the biggest reasons we see this in Virginia statewide elections over and over again. It's one of the biggest reasons why the Republicans put up, let me just get back at it. I want to keep this on so you can see it. It's one of the biggest reasons why Republicans, the sort of the raw vote count typically looks encouraging for them if you're just looking at that in the early hours of an election night, and why it gets more blue late. One of the big reasons is Fairfax County tends to come in late. And again, it's overwhelmingly Democratic. We said, how Democratic? Well, I'll show you. Like, this was the presidential result in Fairfax County. And I mean, look at this. In the presidential election, there were almost 600,000 votes cast in Fairfax County. And Kamala Harris won this by 35. Spanberger did even better last time around. We set a benchmark tonight in Fairfax County for the no side, by the way, of 35. Okay, so when this comes in, even if it's a good night for no, it's going to be going almost 2-1 for the yes side with a ton of votes. So again, you keep that in mind when you're looking at the statewide running tally right there. Again, just sort of take a look here. We'll take a look at the northern neck here. Westmoreland County at 95%. Had we shown this one, it was 60% was the benchmark for the no side. They're running at 59.1. Essex County, right nearby, the benchmark for the no side was 58. We'll round that up and say they're basically just hitting it there in Essex County. Again, these are small. These are, tend to be very Republican. Middlesex County, right next door. The benchmark we set for the no side here was 69. They're running at 67. It's basically complete. Take a look up Lancaster County here. The benchmark we set for the no side was 61. They're running at 59. These are not numbers that are saying yes is winning this thing in a landslide statewide. These are numbers saying it's a pretty close race statewide. But this no side, I've seen now, we've gone through 12, 15 examples of this, the no side falling just a couple points short, it seems, in a lot of these places. Sort of continue our journey. We showed you Matthews County. Yep.
The places I see kind of the no side overperforming the most or performing closest, Charles City, Madison, we're about half in vote there. They're overperforming a 2025 number.
You'd be only half in?
Only half in, though.
Yeah.
80% Accomack, closer to the 2025 number there. That's what I'm kind of seeing.
Yeah, even here, again, on the Delmarva Peninsula, I have the no benchmark set at 60 here. They're running at 57. Where else did we talk here? We were just talking, I can zoom in here. Boy, these peninsulas in Virginia. Let's zoom in and give you a better sense here. We got 37%. We could go next door. You mentioned Charles City, about half. Yeah, here, okay, yes. Let's see what the rest of the vote. The benchmark here was 49. It's only half the vote, though. This may be that all Republicans same day. But let's take a look around Hampton Roads here for big stuff. Norfolk near completion. Okay, city of Norfolk, big, overwhelmingly Democratic. We set a benchmark here for the no side of 30%. They are running short of that with 90% of the vote counted in the city of Norfolk. Next door in Portsmouth, 92% of the vote there. We set a benchmark here for the no side of 32. They're running at 28 here. Again, we're at 30% in Chesapeake, starting to get somewhere with Chesapeake. And again, remember, Chesapeake and Virginia Beach, these are the sort of two biggies here that the no side has to win. No side has to win by 5+ points, I think. And again, maybe more than that based on what we're seeing elsewhere. They report out their election day vote first. It gets more Democratic. So the question here is going to be purely how much more Democratic does it become? Okay, Isle of Wight here. Okay, here's one where the no side, where it's basically complete, and the no side is hitting the benchmark, 62.9 with a benchmark of 63. So they are hitting it right there. Okay, Surrey County next door. Again, this is small. This is one of those 16, but we only have about 50% in. Let me zoom back out statewide. I don't want to lose the forest for the trees here. We're at 47% vote of the vote in statewide. No side continues to lead the tally. Remember, it was about 130,000 last we checked. It's ticked down to 118. I want to go through some of the big ones again. We're sitting at still 94 in Loudoun. We're still at 49 in Prince William. We're still waiting on Fairfax County. That's going to be very big. We're now up to 80%. We're at 80% in Arlington. Again, we said that this is hugely Democratic. We said no side wants to be about 26% right there. Okay, just give you the whole state again. I'll keep. Oh, good job, Steve. Okay, the whole state again, 119,000. We'll head down here. Montgomery County, I said this is sort of a swing one I want to keep an eye on. Again, where you're going to get that Democratic-friendly vote late, though. This is Blacksburg is here. But we only got 37% in right there. See if Albemarle County, we have much. Do we have city of Charlottesville? We got 80%. Again, this is like what I just showed you in Arlington. Just overwhelmingly Democratic. For what it's worth, the benchmark I set was about 18 for no. Again, this just speaks to Charlottesville's the kind of place where this is where just all that Democratic energy that we've been talking about, that in these special elections, a place like Charlottesville, it's got to be, sort of explosive. So again, the yes side is just getting a huge number out of there. See, take a look here. Goochland County, we got 43%, making our way sort of into the Powhatan. We're making our way into the sort of Richmond exurbs here, suburbs. We're 50-50 in Chesterfield County. Again, do not want to lose sight of this one tonight. We've talked about the dynamics here, where again, we are waiting they do this election day vote, then you get these two kind of big batches, generally pretty rapid fire. You would expect, based on how things have gone in the past, that would favor the yes side, but let's see. We haven't seen it materialize in these numbers yet, so let's see. Charles City, I think we had looked at just a moment ago. New Kent County, this is a small one, very Republican. Okay, about all the vote is in here. 71 the benchmark, 71 is what no's hitting. So you are seeing some where the no number is hitting as well. King William County, again, small with a benchmark we set. Boy, they are, 73 is what we said for the no side. They're running 72.5 right here. Take a look, King and Queen. Gloucester County, we're getting close. 73 was the number. They're running 73.8. Okay, so here sort of on the middle peninsula. Oh, remember we set up Matthews at the start of the night, very small, but we set this up sort of as a test. Pretty much complete in Matthews, 75. Remember, this was our first benchmark that we set of the night. Looks like just about done in Matthews County. The no side going to hit 73 right there. Take a look at Middlesex County. I think we already had 69 was the benchmark. We had talked about this. Move in here to Caroline County. We don't have much. See Spotsylvania, we're still at 45% right there. We showed you Louisa. Where else can we show you? Culpeper, we're at 43. I'm looking for something. Rappahannock, 62 in Madison. Again, we're looking for some of those where we got a ton in right here. 71% in Rockingham. We set a benchmark of 75 for no. They're running at 77. Highland County, we had showed you already. These are small. Anything else sort of down in deep southwest Virginia? Again, these are where the Republicans just want to run up the score. We showed you Tazewell. We got, okay, yeah, here we go. Republicans definitely, 86 was the benchmark. 88 is the number here. Small, but again, that's exactly what the no side wants to be doing. Dickinson County next door, okay. Benchmark here was 81, 83.3, so they beat it again next door in Dickinson County. Wise County, benchmark was 84. They hit it, it's 85. So this is a difference down here in Southwest Virginia. Scott County, 95% in. Benchmark was 88. They're running 88.5. Go right next door, Washington County, getting close. We showed you this a minute ago, 81 the benchmark. They may inch their way there as the rest of the vote comes in. Benchmark here was 85. No is running 84. I do think the totality of what we're seeing here, with County 82, they're at 82.6. Grayson County here, another high elevation, to 83, 83.5. So, okay, I think the story that is emerging out of Southwest Virginia, and I want to, again, we do not want to lose the forest for the trees. The story emerging in Southwest Virginia is an encouraging one for the no side. It's one of the pieces. This is where turnout really lagged in 2025. And Adam, you had said the turnout, can you just check in some of those others if it's also running? The turnout numbers that Adam had been giving us were much better for Republicans down here, and they're generally hitting and even exceeding a little bit benchmarks down there. That's, again, that is a relatively small part of the state. It's important for Republicans. It's vital. They need much more than that. That is a piece of it, and you are seeing it there. I see, we're over half the vote in here statewide. Keep in mind that margin. Remember, we were talking about 10 minutes ago, and it was at 130. It's ticked down to 92, now ticked up to 93,000. That's the margin, still with nothing out of Fairfax County. So, again, we can kind of continue here. I'm going to go back to some of the big ones and see if we've got any more. Virginia Beach, okay. Now, in Virginia Beach, we just got, can I ask you, did we just get vote by mail out of Virginia Beach? We just got something very, very big out of Virginia Beach.
Yeah, what I see, I see a mix of all votes here.
Yep.
I can give you the breakdowns for the vote modes if you want.
Well, let me just say this. This is key because remember we were showing you Virginia Beach and the no side was winning by like 10 points for most of the tally of the first 40% or so of the vote in Virginia Beach. And we said the benchmark here in Virginia Beach, for the no side, we got a benchmark of 53. And what just happened is that number had been running in the mid 50s. It just fell to 49.3. The yes vote actually took the lead. And that is consistent with the sequence that we know to be the case in Virginia Beach, which is that they report out their election day vote, then they hit you with their vote by mail. That's second. So I think that is the vote by mail. Overwhelmingly Democratic, so Democratic that it just vaulted the yes side into the advantage here statewide. Then, and you just got more vote in right there, and it kept that lead there for the yes side in Virginia Beach. Vaulted them into the lead in Virginia Beach, excuse me. Then they have the last thing to come. Still to come, I think, based on the past, would be the early vote, a big batch of early vote. And typically the early vote will then bring that yes number down, bring the Democratic number down a little bit. But we said 53 is the number no wants to be running at. And now they're in danger of missing that. It is encouraging for them with the same day. We got to see how I think it's that early vote we're going to be kind of waiting for right there in Virginia Beach. But it's sort of like this is like a boxing match, right? Early on there, Republicans, they're punching away. Democrats just hit them with their biggest sort of counterpunch, the vote by mail. It put the yes side into the lead in Virginia Beach.
We got our first set of Henrico.
We got
30,000 votes.
Yeah. It's starting to come in again, core Democratic area here. Henrico is another one of these where you're going to get, I believe, same day first, and then you're going to get these two kind of, a lot of updates, the same day vote. Then you get the early vote, then you get the vote by mail in these two big installations. Again,
I think that's a mix of same day and mail in Henrico.
Okay. So again, 56% here statewide. To 87,000 is the margin here. On the no side, do we have anything else real big that just came out? I see Chesterfield now. Okay. Did we just get vote by mail in Chesterfield?
Taking a look in Chesterfield.
We just got a big update from Chesterfield.
Yeah. I think that's roughly what it is. We're about 95% of our expected vote for, or about 90% of our expected vote in mail.
Yeah, and this is consistent again with what we were talking about here. Well, they've done it later in the night before, but we just got a very big pro-yes vote in this latest report in Chesterfield County. Remember, this thing was dead even, 50-50. We were just showing you about half the vote. And now the yes side has moved ahead here by 7 points with 60% in. Typically, when you see that significant movement in a county like Chesterfield, with that, relatively speaking, few of new votes coming in, that speaks to vote by mail coming in. So anyway, we said this is sort of the toss-up county. We think of this as in a very, very razor-thin statewide election here, a statewide referendum tonight. This would basically be a toss-up, and I said maybe whoever wins it is probably winning statewide. And you saw, it was 50-50, and now it's moved into the yes favor. And again, I do think we have early votes still to come in Chesterfield County. We said that Democratic-friendly vote tends to come in a little bit later there in Chesterfield County. You can usually, when you get the initial reports in Chesterfield, you can usually sort of mentally add a few points for the Democrats to that because that's just the nature of the reporting there. So 57% in statewide. The no side is leading, though, in the tally, 90,000. We've talked about the ingredients that go into that. Nothing from Fairfax. I want to really key in on that because that's going to be, that's going to have a dramatic impact on what you're looking at right here when you get Fairfax. Now we're at this is 95% in Loudoun means our folks are saying this may be it. Not have to be, but this may be it in Loudoun County, and this is pretty much it in Loudoun County. And I will just reinforce this. If you've been watching all night, you saw me really lean into this earlier. Let me just do it again in case you weren't watching or in case you've forgotten. This is the single, if you're on the yes side, this right here is the single best piece of news you have seen from these returns tonight. It's basically a complete county. It's a giant county here, and the no side wanted to be running in the mid-40s. Again, we set 44 as the benchmark for the no side. This is a great number if you're on the yes side. And the difference between the yes side winning this by 12 and winning this by 22 points, it's a huge, huge difference just in terms of raw votes. And again, look at this. Harris won this county by 16 points in the presidential election. And we were saying the no side wanted to get it down to 12. Instead, it looks like it's going to land at 22. That's major. That is major. Next door, okay. And here we go. Prince William County. Yeah, Loudoun is 5% of the statewide vote. Prince William is 5%. Between these two counties, it's 10%. And we are basically also complete in Prince William County. And again, that is a 26-point margin there for the yes side. We knew this was going to be a yes county tonight, but we set a benchmark for the no side of 40%. And they've fallen short. They've fallen short by 3 points. So that's significant. To fall 5 points short in Loudoun, to fall 3 points short next door in Prince William County in major, major population hubs. And again, places here, Fairfax County, deeply, deeply blue here. Arlington, extremely blue. There was hope, certainly, on the no side that there were more persuadable voters in these two counties, in Prince William and in Loudoun County, who would sort of generally vote Democratic. They voted for Kamala Harris. They voted for who would draw the line at this redistricting. You're not seeing it in these results in these two counties. You are not seeing that line being drawn by the voters in either of these places. So again, that takes you to a place where statewide now we got close to 60% of the voters in. The no side is still leading the tally. It is still running at 90,000. Fairfax just looms larger and larger in all of this. Also, this is going to be a significant. Henrico is also.
Steve, just a note on that statewide view there.
Yep.
We just made a change in our characterization.
Yep.
We went from too early to call to too close to call.
Too close to call. Okay. What can you tell me, Adam, about Prince William and Loudoun County in terms of where they've landed relative to 2025 turnout?
Yeah. Can take a look here. So Prince William County, we're at 86% of 2025 turnout in Prince William.
Yep.
In Loudoun, 85% currently.
85. Okay. And can you give us some of these in Southwest Virginia where we're basically complete? Any of these, Scott County, Lee, we're not, a Scott County, a Wise County, Dickinson County. How does the turnout relative to 25 compare there? Because what we're trying to find out here is, the one ingredient that the no side needs. The no just got a very good update. So can you tell me what the update that just came in was?
We got Bedford. No, the most recent one for no, Harrisonburg.
No, for the okay. You got Harrisonburg.
Harrisonburg just came in with a pretty good vote for the no vote. Roanoke City.
So that
Arlington.
You came in. Are you sure it came in for the no? Because this is where James Madison University is.
Oh, sorry. No. Yes, you're right. I was looking at the wrong column. That's right.
But that just came in, Harrisonburg.
Yeah, and we just got more.
It brought it down from 98 to 83. I just saw.
Well, we got 35 from Fairfax. 35,000 from Fairfax.
It's starting to come in. Okay, here we go. This is what I was talking about, right? Again, like almost 15% of the vote statewide comes from Fairfax County. Easily, by far, the biggest single source of votes anywhere in the state. So we got 1/11 of Fairfax County that just reported out. 75-25 is what it's running at. We set as a benchmark here for the no side 35 tonight. Okay. So roughly almost a little bit less than 2-1 is sort of the benchmark we set here. But again, the significance with just 9% is to show you the yes side leads by 18,000 votes. Okay, so that did just bring that no number had been about, the plurality for no had been about 98, just came down to 83 with what you got in Fairfax County. But I feel that in the last 4 minutes or so, was there a substantial source of vote for no that came in? Because I was looking at it and saw it tick up from 90 to 98 at one point there.
There's a bunch of just, I think it's just the cumulative. Every update, we're getting, a couple thousand votes in all these different counties. I don't see one. Bedford would be the closest one. We got 8,000 votes, and it came in overwhelmingly for no.
Okay.
But yeah, they're coming in fast and furious, as you see.
Okay.
We just got another 20,000 in Spotsylvania.
Okay. So we're getting close to, this is a decent one. This is sort of I-95 corridor, fast growing here. And now in this one, the no side is beating the benchmark. Okay. So this is decent size. This is that I-95 corridor. We're getting close to 95%. The no side is beating the benchmark right here. Stafford, we identified at the start of the night as a very important one for the no side. 52, the benchmark we set. They're running at 51.7, and there is still some vote to come there. Again, it depends on sort of the what type of vote that is. But just sort of looking in, there's some population in here. Goochland, we didn't have much. We got close now. Okay, now it's not that big, but it's outside of Richmond here and growing. Very Republican. We had set a benchmark here. Here we set a benchmark for Here we set a benchmark for the no side of 68, running at 63. So again, 52-48 here is what it is statewide. See here, Virginia Beach. Now the no side is back. Okay, the no side. Remember, we had a big update there. We think it was the vote by mail, and I think now we've gotten more same day has come in. That's the no friendly vote, and the no vote leading there, Virginia Beach. Again, they want to have a healthy margin in Virginia Beach. They want to carry it. They want to carry it by a healthy margin. They also want to do the same next door here in Chesapeake. Chesterfield is where it left off. let's see here, Henrico County. This is big and Democratic, heavily Democratic. You only got about less than a quarter of the vote in there so far. That's just a sort of a core Democratic area. So waiting on more vote there. Fairfax, we're still sitting at 9. We took you through Loudoun. We took you through Prince William. Let's see if Arlington is close to. Arlington's closing in on complete. Alexandria next door is 2. So again, just sort of zoom out here. And
I do have some of the places that I think are exceeding 2025 vote in Virginia. So looking at Patrick, Grayson, Scott, Carroll, Page, they all look to be near or above 25 totals.
Okay, that's very. We're talking like Southwest Virginia right here. You're saying this is over the 25 number.
Yeah. So Grayson,
Okay.
6,100 votes.
Yeah.
2025, 5,900.
Well over. So we said the turnout had lagged down. You said Scott County was one of these two?
Yes.
Right? Okay. Scott County, 95%. Tell us what the turnout was in 25 and what it is tonight.
7,353 in 25, and it's 7,553 currently.
But it is over. Yeah. That's important because, again, we said this turnout lagged down here, but those numbers are suggesting, and again, we said these are big numbers for Democrats, just in terms of, for Democrats, for the yes side. You know, Prince William and Loudoun are big numbers for the yes side, just in terms of the margin that they're winning by. But the turnout level here, relative to 25, you said is 86% in these counties?
Those are all over 2025. The ones that I listed.
No, you said that Loudoun and Prince William.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Okay. So that, I mean, again, like those are. Here's a question for you. Why don't, if you could take a look at this as we continue waiting to vote here. If you take a look at all the counties where we're, at basically completion right now, right? Can you calculate the no side, how close they are to 25 versus the yes side?
Yes.
Okay, because I think that would give some clarity to this. What I'm getting at here is that's the other variable that if you're the no side, we see these benchmarks kind of missing in some places, just missing a little bit in some places. You can make up for it if your areas are turning out, significantly, if there's a disparity there in terms of the energy. So if these Republican/no areas, these small but overwhelmingly no areas are turning out, really sort of turning out in droves here, and it's not being matched in the more Democratic parts of the state, that can offset falling short of benchmarks in some places. Again, Adam is going to take a close look at that, and I'm just going to, while he's doing that, I'm going to see Montgomery. We've been waiting on trying to get more vote out of here. This one's a little slow. We'll go through our sort of tour of the big counties, see if more's come in. Virginia Beach now sitting at 70%, and it's right on the edge there. The no side is slightly ahead in the count. We've told you the no side wants to win that. They want to win that by a pretty healthy margin. Chesapeake, we've gotten some more vote there that's tightened it, but the no side continuing to have the advantage. The no side wants to win this again with the, probably a little bit of wiggle room and want to win this one. Chesterfield County, we've been sitting at 60 there for a while. We said this is kind of the marginal county there, the ultimate kind of big swing county there. Henrico is still sitting at just 22%.
I do have a note for you too, Steve.
Yep. Okay. So 2/3, 78,000, and let me see what we got. All right. And the other thing that we can take a look at, the other thing that I wanted to take a look at, if you bear with me for a second here, I'm going to just go through. I'll leave the map on the statewide, so you're not going to miss that. And what I want to go through here quickly is my list of 16, because I said this might be a good metric tonight. My list of 16 Spanberger, Youngkin counties and independent cities, with the theory going into the night that if you're on the no side, you really want to sweep these, okay? And we just got a big update from somewhere that knocked the no margin down. What just came in? Are you able to?
Fairfax.
We just got another jump from Fairfax. So see that? Look, Fairfax had been at 9%. It just jumped to 20. So now we're at a fifth of the vote there. The yes side continues to overwhelmingly win right there. And what that's done? Remember, this number had been sitting there in 80 in the 70s. Now it's down to 60, right? And you got still 80% of Fairfax to come. Okay, so that's what just happened there. It tightened it statewide. Fairfax, again, it's just the biggest, even with what's left. We got 20% of Fairfax County. The 80% that's left in Fairfax County would by itself still be by far the largest county in Virginia. So that's just a ton of votes for the Democrats, and that's just vital to keep in mind when you're looking at that 60,000. I want to leave this on the screen, and I want to try to go through these. My list is 16 right here. I want to see how many of them are, basically complete. And again, the no side, we said, basically wants to win all of them. Maybe can afford one hiccup, but this is a good metric. Okay, I'm just going to start geographically here. Radford County is where Radford University is. Go Highlanders. We're basically complete. The no side gets 52%. So the no side does carry it right there, and that does slightly beat the benchmark that I had. Montgomery County right next door, that is where Virginia Tech is. Still, it's only 57% in. I don't want to characterize that one yet. Waynesboro, we're basically complete in Waynesboro. The no side getting 54% of the vote. So the no side is going to carry Waynesboro. We said they needed to. That's right at the benchmark that they needed to. Let's take a look at Nelson County here. Nelson County basically complete. The no side 65% here. So the no side. Yeah, the no side doing very well there, easily beating its benchmark. So that is an encouraging one on the no side. That they get a very good number there. Let's see, Prince Edward County here, that is complete. The no side at 54%, so they're carrying that. And I'm just looking at my benchmarks. I got them. Helpfully, I got them on different pages. 55 was my benchmark there. Chesterfield, we told you about. We can't characterize that yet. Hopewell. Complete. The yes side carries Hopewell. I said the no side needs to sweep with maybe one hiccup. Hopewell was the one hiccup I was thinking they might have, and they have had a hiccup in Hopewell. Caroline County, not quite complete. Stafford County, we took you through, not complete yet. Spotsylvania, where are we now? Basically, we're at 95 in Spotsylvania. No does carry it, 54%. I think they may have won it a little bit more there in terms of the benchmark, however, but they do carry it. Surrey County, no is going to get with 60%. They beat their benchmark there, definitely. How about James City here? James City County, do we have that complete? James City, yeah, complete. No 51, so they carry it. I do have an update on the number I was calculating too. Okay, let me just get through. I'm almost through these. York, I just want to see if there's any other hiccups here. They're missing benchmarks in a few, but they are carrying them. 55% in York. They beat the benchmark there. That's basically complete. 2 more to go. Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, we've taken you through them. We don't have anything yet. We don't have anything final yet in Northampton. Complete. 48%. No misses in Northampton. We showed you that. So they've missed in 2, and they've missed some benchmarks in others. It's okay. And what do you have, Adam?
So this is a static of a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
But I took the places where yes was winning that were 95% or more in, and we're running about 87% of total 2025 vote in those counties. And the place where no is winning 95% in, we're about 94% of 2025 vote in those.
They've been running higher.
Yes.
Even with Loudoun and Prince William running at 86%?
That's right.
What would be powering that if those 2 giant counties are that far under 94? All right. Well, the exercise of going through the 16, though, I think was useful because, again, now 2/3 of the vote in here, just under 60,000. The no side, I said, as a general rule, want to go 16 for 16. The biggest ones there, Virginia Beach, we just don't have yet. Just checking in if we got a little bit more. We're at 73% here. Chesapeake, we just don't have the numbers from these biggest ones. We don't have the final numbers yet. In the smaller of those 16 swing counties, the no side's winning all but 2 of them, okay? But they are missing, they passed their benchmarks in a couple, they missed their benchmarks in a couple too. So again, it's right, I think if you're the no side looking at the numbers I just looked at, you probably wanted to be doing a little bit better. One way to look at it maybe is this, of those, of those 16 that I just mentioned, right? Like Youngkin obviously won all 16 of them. The Attorney General's race, last year, remember the Attorney General's race was a closer one. The Democratic candidate very scandalized all these things. So the Republican candidate did a lot better in the Attorney General's race than Abigail Spanberger did. The Republican Attorney General candidate won 10 of those 16 that I just ticked through. And right now, if everything that's outstanding went for the no side, they'd win 14. But that's a very big if, because that would assume they win at Virginia Beach, they win at Chesterfield, they win so that's what I mean when I say they might want a little bit more. This is pointing to it's too close to call. This is very close statewide, but you do see that no plurality continuing to shrink, and you see the dynamics that we've been discussing in these major counties and these major places. You still only have 20% of the vote in Fairfield County, in Fairfax County. You just saw what an update of adding 10% more of the vote in Fairfax County did to the statewide total. That's going to happen 8 more times, okay, tonight out of Fairfax. So, 55,000 here, 68% of the vote is in. But Fairfax, obviously the biggest single outstanding piece, huge there. What's left to come in Chesterfield County, and such a big question about what the character of that vote is. And just to give you folks an update here, remember we do this, we go on and we do some hits on News Now to update them throughout the night. I've got one in 3 minutes. If you saw that earlier, we'll do a quick update on the results. You'll see it, you'll hear it all. We'll come right back here. Henrico only 22%. This will be very Democratic with what is still to come. Virginia Beach, again, now the no side, at 567 vote margin there. They're getting very, you see those very small incremental updates. I think a lot of that is same day vote that's being tallied up. Chesapeake here just got a lot tighter. Okay, we just got a pretty significant update out of Chesapeake. Remember, the no side had been leading by a larger margin here. We'd seen this earlier in the night, like double digits. It's now basically even there in Chesapeake with what just came in. And what can I, and again, in Virginia Beach, we've seen them end in the past with big updates of mail and early. And if that happens, that'll push this no number. If they're doing it like they have in the past. 68%, 54,000 the margin there for no. Maybe I will look at this. We got how much time till this hit?
3 seconds.
Oh, here's the hit. I'm not hearing Gotti. Not yet. Oh, we're 90 away still. Oh, okay. It was 3 seconds till the segment. 90 still till mine. Let me just consult this quickly to see. I gotta go back to the top of this. And yeah, Fairfax, Henrico, Chesterfield. Oh, another big outstanding piece of real estate here that we haven't talked about. It's very easy to miss right there, but it is the capital city of Richmond, overwhelmingly Democratic. You can see only 30% of the vote is in there. So again, there are, I think one of the things you see here is you're getting just steady updates from sort of the smaller, the rural and the small town counties in Virginia where the no side is doing very well. We've shown you, like, if they're missing their benchmarks, they're only missing them by this much. They're definitely doing better turnout-wise than they were in 2025 when it looked like a lot of those Republican areas were asleep. They are not asleep tonight. We're certainly seeing that. And so, those continue to sort of power this, although we just, it looks like we just got another significant update. Did it come from Fairfax?
Yeah, it came from Fairfax.
So again, they seem to be doing these in almost 10% increments. We just got another one out of Fairfax County. So again, continues to be overwhelmingly yes, 29% there. And again, you see what that did to that margin statewide. It just knocked 10,000 votes off of it. So it's down there to 40,000 for no. Here we go. I think we're going to do this hit, and then we'll pick it up from there with where the outstanding vote is. Okay, I think you guys are hearing this too, so here we go.
Virginia is voting in a special election about the future of voting. With polls just closing within the last few hours, Virginia is now the latest battleground for a redistricting fight that President Trump kicked off when he pressured Texas to redraw their congressional maps last year. This proposed map would give Democrats a chance at winning 10 of Virginia's 11 congressional districts, a huge shift from the current 6-5 split in the House. Let's get straight over to NBC's Steve Kornacki at the big board with more. Steve, great to see you. We've got some votes coming in, but too close to call still? What's going on?
It is. Look, we got about 2/3 of the vote in statewide. You do see the no side on this referendum is leading, but I think one of the things to keep in mind here is this is the lead. It's a 39,000 vote lead for the no side. This number has been steadily ticking down now. Great timing, right, as it ticks back up over 40. But it was about 130,000 not long ago, about a half an hour ago. It has ticked down. And why is that? It's because there are some big population centers in the state that are sort of late reporting and that are starting to come in. One of the biggest ones is right here. This is Fairfax County. This is right outside Washington, D.C. And you can see the most important thing here is only 29% of the vote is in Fairfax County. Fairfax County produces more votes by far than any other county in Virginia. So there is a ton of votes still to come here in Fairfax County. You can see how overwhelming it is for the yes side. So, there's a couple other places here that aren't quite as big, but that are also good size and that are very heavily pro-yes right now. So there's, and look at that, Gotti. Just since I've been there, we gotta go find out where it came in from. Remember, this was 40,000 when you went to me. Now the margin has come down to 20,000. Henrico County. Okay, my producer Adam says, look at this one. This is a big Democratic area just north of Richmond. And Henrico County just came in with a big number for the yes side. And look at what that did. So this is what's happening right now, Gotti. The yes side is starting to get the vote reports that are they come in later in the night from the big Democratic-friendly areas, and they are just lopping off one update at a time. They are lopping off that margin from no. It has come all the way down to 21,000, and there's still quite a few areas left that can do what you just saw with that one update from Henrico County. So this is a very close, very competitive election. But I think if you are on the yes side here, that's basically the Democrats in Virginia, when you're looking at this map, you like what it looks like in terms of how much vote is still to come from Democratic areas.
Interesting. I mean, the one that is changing by the second there, Steve Kornacki, thanks so much for that update.
You got it.
Meanwhile,
Okay, good. Thank you, Adam. That was a huge update right there. So we've got 63% in Henrico now, and you saw what that did. 29 in Fairfax, so 72% statewide. The no side is sitting at just over 50%. Where is the outstanding vote right now? Right. Fairfax, just by far, I'll give you a sense here, probably, between 250 and 300,000 more votes to come out of Fairfax County, right? And it's running that Democratic. What's next? Chesterfield County, there's probably over 50,000 votes right there. Richmond, Henrico still probably has 50,000 votes left. Virginia Beach. Again, what you're seeing here is either big Democratic areas, Fairfax, Henrico, City of Richmond, or Chesterfield and Virginia Beach, places where we think, based on how they've counted this vote in the past, the remaining vote tends to be more favorable to Democrats. Now, that said, we did just get an update I see that was favorable to no by about 6,000. Is that from one place?
Hanover.
Okay, yeah, so Hanover County actually was sort of looming there. We're getting just outside of Henrico County is Hanover County here. So this is a Republican area here. Decent size, too. And, just the benchmarks we've been following all night, we think the no side needs to hit 70% right here. So we expect this to be a very big county for the no side. It had been at 0. I think this was actually probably of the core Republican counties, core big, decent-sized Republican counties in Virginia. This was the biggest one that was at 0 until what just happened a minute ago. And you can see there, produces, with a little bit more than a third of the vote, a 6,400 vote plurality for the no side. So again, as Hanover comes in, you can expect, if you extrapolate it out, whether they hit the benchmark or not, when the rest of Hanover is going to be a plurality in excess of 10,000 votes, probably for the no side. So as we're tracking this here, this will at some point, when Hanover, with the rest of Hanover coming in, this 21 would go to like 31 if you just threw it in all now, maybe more than 31. But that might be the biggest area left where that's the case for the no side. That's nothing compared to what's left to come out of Fairfax County, right?
And head to the main screen.
Yep.
We got a new vote in Newport News.
Yep.
We got some more out of Hanover.
We got more Hanover. We just jumped to some of these counties. When they finally report, they report big. So we did just get all of Hanover, and you can see it ends up at 19,000 votes for no, 68.7. We had set a benchmark of 70 here for the no side, so it falls short of that. It does, though. We said, what did we just say? If all of Hanover reported right now, it would probably go north of 31. Well, it went to 34. Where else, though, can the no side pad its margin? That was one of the biggest pieces of sort of individual pieces of weaponry they had left, was Hanover County. Again, you see what's happening in Fairfax. There's still 71% of the vote to come out of there. The yes margin is basically 50,000 votes. In the first 29%, there's still 71% to come out of there. There's still, a big chunk of vote to come out of Henrico County. What needs to happen on the no side, right? They need something massive out of, they need something massive out of these places. Massive in terms of the surprise, the scale of surprise, out of a Virginia Beach, out of a Chesapeake, out of a Chesterfield. There are still plenty of, small places around the state that collectively add up where you're going to, be getting more vote. But, check it. Okay, Montgomery, we finally got to the 95%. And okay, this is one, if you're on the no side, this was one of those swing counties we talked about. Voted for Spanberger, voted for Youngkin. No side wants to sweep them. They win Montgomery County. They do pull off Montgomery County, Blacksburg, Virginia Tech. And we basically I set a benchmark here of like 50.1. So they do go in excess of it here in Montgomery County. That is a good piece of news if you're on the no side of this. Margin there, 31,000 statewide. And now let me just again look here for remaining vote. We're hunting for big pockets of remaining vote. And I do see some here. Okay, now I do see some for the, where else could the no side look here, where they're running really well and where there's a fair amount of vote remaining. We may have some, Augusta. Albemarle County, by the way, Democratic. We don't have a ton that's reported there yet. Augusta might be one of the biggest ones. It might be one of the biggest ones left. South of there. Yeah, this is okay. This might be right here, sort of the Shenandoah Valley. The no side's running at 80.6% right here. 78 was the benchmark. Less than 2/3 of the vote is in, and so. The no vote, they are going to add to their statewide. This is going to boost them statewide with whatever's left here. I'm singling this one out because this may be the biggest single source at the county level of an outstanding plurality for the no side in the state. That may be what you're looking at right there. Pittsylvania County, we still got a fair amount of vote to come there. This is down by the North Carolina border. The no side's running at 78% right here. That is better than we set a benchmark of 74. They are breaking it here. And again, you can see there's still, probably 12,000, probably 15,000 or so votes uncounted in Pittsylvania County. So, no will get some boost out of that. There are places here still where no can add to its margin. But again, the problem I see for the no side is I'm showing you these, and there's a couple others. There's a couple others like this. although these may be the most dramatic individual ones, I'm going to
Steve,
sound like, yeah.
One update on that front, we have a new characterization from the decision desk.
Yeah.
They're characterizing this race as a yes leading currently.
Okay, that's what it's been looking like here. That the yes side is leading this for all the reasons we've been saying. It's just it's a numbers game right now. Where's the outstanding vote? It's the big Democratic pockets have. I could show you these on the map here, one at a time. I've shown you Fairfax. I'll show it to you again here just to reinforce the point. It's the biggest source of outstanding vote. Look how big it is. Look how Democratic it is. And again, the Democrats, I'm using this interchangeably. The Democrats are trying to get this referendum through. So the Democratic side, only needs to erase a net total there of 30,000. And again, did we just get a Fairfax update? We just got a big yes update somewhere.
I believe that was Hampton.
Okay, city of Hampton here. Yeah, okay. Again, we're in the Hampton Roads area, overwhelmingly Democratic. We got a big further update here. The no side is actually running about where we thought they would here, but this was just a case where there was a lot of outstanding vote, and it just came in, and again, it knocked that no total to 23,000. And, I am not looking at this, and, you get a small update there that adds a few hundred to the no side. I'm just seeing these big places left with a lot of Democratic vote. Here's one. I mean, I think we still have vote to come. Excuse me. I think we still have vote to come. Yeah. I mean, look, Albemarle County here. This is right at Charlottesville is inside here, but this is also going to be. This is a Democratic area as well. We still have half the vote to come here. So this is one we haven't even talked too much about tonight. That, and again, we think whatever's left in Chesterfield County, typically, we've been saying the way they report the vote in Chesterfield County, the most Democratic-friendly stuff comes at the very end. I don't know if that's going to be exactly how it plays out with this remaining 40% here. But, the no side, again, they don't need to lose narrowly. They need wins in places. They need to produce some big pluralities to offset what's still coming on the yes side. Okay, now we're at 76% in Virginia Beach. And again, it continues to be just basically dead even. Looking at Virginia Beach in yep. Yeah, they've in the past they've had big sort of Democratic friendly updates at the very end, though this has all been kind of coming more incrementally than usual there, so it may be a little bit different tonight. But again, we say the no side wants to be winning this. The no side wants to be winning this by a pretty healthy margin, and needs to. It needs to produce some kind of plurality to offset what yes is pulling from these big Democratic areas. Henrico, we've talked about. 2/3 there in Henrico right now. Chesterfield, I got a broken record with Chesterfield, so just zoom back out here. Did we get to completion in Arlington? There's still probably a scattering of votes left. A fair number in Arlington County even. What do we think is left in Arlington County here? There might be between 5,000 and 10,000. It's not that much. So 22,000 right now. And just looking at remaining vote here. Those Fairfax updates, I think, the next one of those the next update you get here from Fairfax, I think, this number could come down, could come down close to zero, depending on how big the next update is from there. And again, the Republican side just. Here's another way of looking at it. How many of these places are at 100% basically? That's what I want to look at. Where does, almost, about half the counties here, about half the counties and independent cities are basically at all the vote counted right now. We're really looking at how many places have less than half the vote counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 7. There's probably 7 cities or counties in the state that have less than half the vote counted right now. Maybe that's a good way of going through this. One of them is Fairfax, which we may have mentioned once or twice. They are by far, they're at 29%. Every other county in the state is at least 43% of the expected vote in. Fairfax County is at 29%. And it happens to be by far the largest in the state and one of the most Democratic in the state, and easily the biggest Democratic plurality producing county in the state. And it by far has the lowest percentage of the vote in, and by far it has the most outstanding votes left. Just can't underscore that enough, what that means to all the math you're looking at on the screen right now. Cumberland County, very, very small. We only have 43% of the vote, but that's just a couple hundred votes that are left. Southampton County, same thing, just a couple hundred votes. Just a couple hundred votes in Greene County. This will be a no stronghold. But again, you're talking about only a couple hundred votes on the plurality. Campbell County, about half. Then City of Richmond, we're at about half the vote in the City of Richmond, meaning that there's 35, 40, 45,000 votes left to be counted in the City of Richmond. And the yes side is currently winning Richmond with 81% of the vote. Caroline County, this is the birthplace of Secretariat. The yes side, the no side's winning that pretty comfortably. Only 6,000 or so votes left, give or take, to come out of there. Just not, we're really in kind of a holding pattern here, where I think if Fairfax delivers for the yes side, even remotely what it should deliver, that's gonna be the ball game. Again, I mean, we could just do the math right here, right? 29% of the vote is in. That's about 112, 113 or so thousand votes that are counted right now in Fairfax County. So that means, again, what do we think is left? About 200, give or take here, 270,000 votes are left, right? And if the yes side is winning those, we'll just do the math for you. If you just took the 72-28 mix you got right now, right? Then the yes side, if you said there's 272, is that what we're saying? 270? You want to say 270? We'll be conservative. We'll call it 250. Let's say it's somehow really low. 250,000, and the yes side is getting 72% of those, right? That's going to be an additional, that would translate into a plurality. Let me put this into context statewide. If that's what happens in Fairfax County, okay, the additional plurality for the yes side is going to be 110,000 votes.
It's got more from Fairfax.
And there it is. There it is. They just went from 29, a little bit more than a quarter, to over half the vote. It's still running at that level, and there it is. The yes side now has moved ahead. The yes side has now, remember, they were down 25,000, 20 to 25,000 right before that update came in. That update came in, and look at that net difference. Now the yes side, for the first time tonight, if there's been any measurable scale of vote in, has taken the lead. And there's still half to come here. Half the vote counted, and the yes side's margin is 81,000 votes. Half the vote still to come. If it looks basically like this, that's another plurality of 80,000 votes for the yes side. And suddenly this 11,000, right, is sitting, around 90,000, okay? Where on this map can the no side erase what's, with Fairfax added in, would now be like a 90,000 vote deficit on the no side? Well, they're not going to do it in Henrico County, where a third of the vote, a little bit more than a third of the vote, is still to come, and the yes side is winning by 30 points right now. They're not going to do it in the city of Richmond, where barely half the vote is counted, and the yes side's winning 80 to 20, plurality of 25,000 votes. That's probably going to be another 20,000 vote plurality for the yes side out of Richmond. Where can the no side answer this? They'd love to win. No would love to carry Virginia Beach, but if they carry it, it's going to be only by a couple points. It's going to be
You want to head to the statewide screen?
Yep. Is it about to? Yeah. Good, I was running out of material. Thank you, Adam. It is official. NBC News Decision Desk has projected that in the Virginia congressional redistricting referendum, the yes side has prevailed. The referendum has been approved by voters, clearing the way for Democrats in the state to redraw the congressional boundaries. It was a 6-5 congressional district map, 6 Democrats, 5 Republicans under the map that with this vote has been approved. It would likely result in a 10-1 Democratic map out of the state of Virginia. This has dramatic implications nationally as we're talking about the midterm elections, talking about the landscape there. Remember, Democrats narrowly trailing Republicans in the balance of power in the House, coming into this year needing a net gain. They need a net gain of 3 seats nationally to get control of the House. They just drew themselves, and the voters just approved a map that here in Virginia probably gives them 4. They need 3 nationally, and just with this vote, they got 4. We could talk about everything else, California and everything else. That's a big, big difference there in terms of the national redistricting picture. So, do they want to come to us with?
Yes, they'll come to you in a couple of minutes.
Okay, so that's 8:45. These are. Wow, I thought it
much earlier.
Yeah, I mean, like if we do an office pool or something, I think I told the folks here 11 o'clock. They're excited; they get to go home. But we will do it. We're going to do a News Now news alert here momentarily. So you know how those go. We're about 3 minutes away from that. So, I mean, I think kind of what I've been saying. We've been kind of in a repetition mode here for 20 minutes or so. I think what was happening there was basically we knew what was almost certainly to come out of Fairfax County, and our decision desk just wanted to see it, I think. I think they just wanted to make sure that what there was no reason to think wouldn't happen, would and did actually happen. And then when it did, it pushed, as you saw, it pushed the yes side ahead there statewide. And remember that it pushed the yes side ahead by 11,000. We've now had some subsequent reports from elsewhere. That number's gone up to 15,000. And I just showed you there's just still these big population, centers here that are very Democratic that still have a ton of vote left in them. And they're just the Republicans. This is the story of Virginia elections. I think it's a very, you got to keep it in mind. It often looks a lot better for the Republicans, for the Republican side in those early hours than it ends up. Some of that just has to do with what we've said about the vote by mail coming out late and the early vote coming out late in the reporting in some places. And some of it just has to do with just how slow they are. I remember the very first election night that I did on TV was 2014 nationally. And Mark Warner, the Democratic senator, got an unexpected scare in that election. And I remember we came on the air, Ed Gillespie was running against him. And Gillespie was leading, early. It was like, oh my gosh, is Mark Warner going to lose this race? And I just remember it was just Fairfax, just wouldn't report. And then when it did, it just, whole thing changed, Warner won. I mean, it's a close race, but Warner won. And that's the delay in Fairfax there, which is such a big piece of the puzzle. It often creates a situation where the Republicans and the Republican side looks a little bit stronger in the raw vote than they actually are. So, we were waiting on it. We'll see where this thing finally lands. I suspect, you're now going to look at the yes side is probably going to end up winning this thing. This is probably going to tick up to, ballpark guess here, 51 and a half, something like that. This is just the Steve guess. This is not the decision desk guess. But the yes side wins. Look, we've been having these, election nights lately where the I will say this, where these special elections for Congress that we've been having, where the Democrats have been overperforming so dramatically, and you've seen these huge turnout disparities. The Democratic voters just flooding the polls, the Republican voters seemingly indifferent to it. Definitely not the case here. This is like if we were looking at a governor's race in Virginia and it were finishing up as close as this, or if we were looking at a presidential race in Virginia and it were finishing up as close as this, we'd be saying, given how blue the state has become, it's a pretty good place. It's a pretty decent sign of strength for Republicans. Not enough to win. And Virginia is that blue now. It's not enough to win for Republicans. But unlike those special elections we've been covering, clearly the Republican side woke up for this one in Virginia. We're going to do this update now.
Thank you.
And we've got some breaking news in that Virginia redistricting election we've been watching so closely. NBC's News Decision Desk has just projected that Virginia voters have opted to install a new, heavily blue-leaning congressional map. Let's get straight over to NBC's Steve Kornacki at the big board to break down how it went. Steve, what does it look like there? I mean, last time we checked with you, those numbers were jumping, and it looks like we've settled.
Yeah, well, I think you saw the sort of the big moment there when the big Democratic area of the state, Fairfax County, just outside Washington, D.C., it was the last to really report out its vote. It started to come in. It's overwhelmingly pro-referendum, supporting the map redraw. And as that vote just kind of steadily came in the last 20 minutes, the whole picture changed here. The yes side took the lead statewide. I suspect this margin is going to grow somewhat as more vote finally trickles in and we get a final result here. It will be a relatively narrow victory for the yes side. You could certainly say here that the Republicans that exist in Virginia, the Republicans were very motivated. They turned out for this. They came very close to defeating this. But, look, ultimately, Virginia, it is still a blue state. The Democrats have a bit of an advantage in any given election over a Republican. And the Democrats got the big numbers they needed in those core Democratic areas tonight to push this thing over to finish line. And the consequences of this in terms of the midterm landscape here are pretty significant, Gotti. I mean, just think of it this way. The House is very close right now. The Republicans control the House, but their majority is razor thin. The Democrats need a net gain in this fall's midterm elections. The Democrats need a net gain of 3 seats to get control of the House. Now, think about this. The current map in Virginia heading into tonight, congressional map, was 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans, right? Now that it's passed, this Democratic map has passed, the new map is likely to be 10 Democrats and just 1 Republican, right? So from 6 to 5 to 10 to 1, that's a net gain for the Democrats just in Virginia from what happened tonight of 4 seats. To win control of the House, they need a net gain of 3. They might have drawn that for themselves tonight and got it approved by the voters.
Yeah. And we'll see what plays out as this goes forward, because there's still a lot of time before then and now, and a lot of fights in so many different directions. But interesting to see those numbers coming out of Virginia tonight. Steve, thank you so very much.
Okay. All right, folks. So, look, 82% here. I'm not going to. Our commitment with this thing, as I say, I don't want you to miss any results as they come in. We want to get you to the call. And then we want to let you go watch whatever you watch on TV. If you're like me, you look for the Cheers rerun. I don't know. So we'll let you get to that here in a minute, but just sort of to quickly put a cap on this and there will be an announcement at the end. Give me about 90 seconds here, folks. But just again, we still have votes coming in. It's 82%. The margin for the yes side is 14,000. Still, as we go off the air here, the biggest outstanding place of votes is Fairfax County. You see how overwhelmingly Democratic that is. There are still some big pockets elsewhere. I noticed that Chesapeake, which we've been talking about, look at that. Chesapeake, they finally reported out the final vote. And we said a lot of these final updates, remember, they're the most Democratic-friendly vote. Chesapeake, 250,000 people live here. All night, what did we see? We saw the no side leading. The final updates came in. They were heavily yes. Yes wins Chesapeake. Yes, remember we said no one to win it by a few points. Yes ends up winning. Late update there. So you still have places like this that are going to report out. Long way of saying when this finally gets up to 100%, this yes margin, I think, will be much more comfortable. It will be more comfortable than it is right now. Republicans certainly showed life in this referendum here. We haven't seen that. I think if there's one thing, if you're a Republican, you do not obviously like the map that came out of tonight. All right. Look, there are Republican incumbents now, who basically probably just lost their jobs because of what happened tonight in this referendum. That said, if you're a Republican and you want some piece of good news to come out of this, it would be this. You would say, look, in these House special elections, we've been seeing these districts that were like 35 points for Trump become like 15 points for the Republicans in the special election. Huge Democratic overperformances. Here in Virginia, this is, as we said, this is not a win for the Republican side, but this is one of the stronger showings you're going to see for the Republican side in Virginia. It's a blue state. They don't usually come this close in Virginia. Youngkin won in 21. He's the big exception. Usually the Republicans lose in Virginia by much more than this. So it does suggest there's the stakes, what the Republican side, I think, would like to say coming out of tonight is they would say the stakes were higher to their voters in Virginia than they were in some of these special elections in places where you kind of knew the Republican would win, you just didn't know the margin. And so they would say this answers, I think the Republicans would like to say that what happened tonight answers a lot of the concerns about their base not being, they'll say, look, their base can get motivated. They'll say they'll get motivated in November like they were motivated for this. And I do think there's something that can be said for that. But at the same time, the Republicans also hoped that there were sort of swing voters in Virginia, all right, Democratic inclined swing voters who maybe, now aren't fully nuts about the Democratic Party and they thought would not, be too happy with an aggressive gerrymandering plan like this, and that they would draw the line here. And that line drawing, it just didn't seem to happen in a lot of places tonight the way the Republicans thought it would. So you had a Republican base that was a lot more alive here than we've seen in other special elections. It's a lot closer than Republicans typically come in Virginia. And it does say, I think it does suggest that when you get into like the midterm, much higher interest, much higher turnout election than these House special elections we've been taking you through. There is cause for, if you're a Republican, to say, hey, your turnout's going to be a lot better in the midterm than it's been in these special elections. But they still lost. The Republicans still lost. And as a result, the Democrats are probably going to pick up a net of 4 new House seats out of Virginia. House Republicans are going to lose their seats as a result of what happened tonight. And those core Democratic areas, they really did still deliver tonight for the Democrats. You saw Fairfax County just do that at the end of the night. So ultimately, the Democrats do win. Their voters, the Republicans were more motivated tonight than they've been in these others. The Democratic voters were still motivated. And you saw that as well in these results. So check in throughout the night, tomorrow, whenever, you see the final results. But we will go off the air. And before we do, put it up. Here's our schedule. We got more to come. Next one, May 5th. This concludes our April. We had 4 elections in April. Next, May 5th, remember, Indiana. What are we covering in Indiana? We're covering the state legislative primaries, state Senate Republican primaries. It has to do with what you saw tonight, the congressional map. The Republicans refused to redraw it in Indiana. Trump wanted them to. They refused to do it, so Trump and his allies are going after the Republican incumbents who wouldn't do it. Their primaries, their fates will be decided on May 5th. We will be covering it. There's so much national interest, so much national money. We're going to cover it. Tune in for that. Ohio's that night, too. Louisiana primary, that's May 16th. That's a Saturday. May 19th is going to be a giant one. May 26th, you're going to have the Paxton-Cornyn runoff in Texas. June 2nd, California. It gives us a good window into what might happen there in November in those House districts. Maine, June 9th, Graham Plattner versus Janet Mills. We got big stuff coming up. Mark your calendar, put your alerts in, take a picture of it, share it on social media. Thank you for joining us tonight. Enjoy the rest of the night. We'll see you right here on May 5th.